Well, I'm in a cave. Welcome back to another video. It's been a fair while. I'll give you that. I'm actually now in Sydney, back at my parents' house here in northwestern Sydney, and yeah, this is just a little cave I found just near the house, which is pretty cool. I'm not in Broome, that's where I was last. For now, the bike trip is on hold. It was getting mundane and quite frankly boring. Up there is so remote, there's so little to see constantly, and it was just sort of wake up and go, wake up and go, wake up and go. And the enjoyment of it sort of slowly started to disappear, especially on that final push to Broome, which is a shame. Um, I love the trip on the whole. It was an awesome trip. I will go back and finish it off, but for the moment, really happy to be back in Sydney, catching up with friends and family. I'm back at work here now, and I probably will be for another couple of months at least, and then we'll go from there. So I wanted to take the time to make a video sort of detailing, answering the questions that a lot of people have been asking me since I've been back, and hopefully try and answer a few of them as well as I can. So if I do ramble in this, it's not planned, I haven't organized answers, I'm just going to talk. So we'll see how we go. A few people have asked me what my main worries were across the ride. Didn't really have any for the most part. The major sort of one was traffic. A lot of people were worried about road trains, but in my opinion, it's not the road trains you need to worry about. You just sort of move off the road and give them the space that they demand. They're the biggest sort of traffic item that you would see. So you just give them all the room all the room you can. And my main problem traffic wise was with caravanners. They're potentially don't realize that the vehicle they're towing is wider than their car, so they would speed past and not give much room at all. I developed a love-hate relationship with the grey nomads. Exceptionally friendly bunch of people, always willing to help as often as they can, as often as they're able to, and are so willing to go out of their way to give you a hand. And I think that comes with being vulnerable. Obviously, on the ride, you're so vulnerable, you're carrying everything you need, you're completely self-sufficient, and people will look at that and they will know that there's times where you will need help. So yeah, I was never really worried about sort of running out of food, except for when I got that lift through that section just on the Northern Territory side of the trip. But I always knew that a lift out of places would be an option if I was to get injured or if I was to be low on supplies. It was never really a worry for me. I'm a very comfortable camper. I've camped a lot in the outdoors by myself, with friends, with cars, hiking. So I was never really worried about being alone outside by myself, which was a lot of the trip was that. And so yeah, that was never a worry. You realize very quickly that everyone is willing to help, and people had concerns before I left of my safety, of getting robbed or attacked in certain parts, particularly in northern Australia and the more remote communities out there. But it couldn't be further from the truth. There seems such a disparity between what people read and what people see and the opinions that they develop having not been somewhere. And the same is true with traveling to different parts of the world, not just within Australia, but some of the people who on the outside could be those people who could potentially cause harm are some of the nicest people that I came across on my trip. And so one thing I've learned is to not take other people's opinions to heart. That's a really big thing, is to get out there and develop your own opinions. And if you travel with an open mind and an open heart, it will surprise you how many doors get opened for you on the trip. And as I said, that's not just within Australia. I imagine that is worldwide, which is really awesome. really awesome. The support I got and the friends I've made along the way. Everyone is just lovely. Loneliness was a big one. A lot of people ask me how lonely it was, and it is lonely. It definitely is, and it's something I definitely struggled with in various parts. But the thing about spending so much time with yourself is that when you are in social situations, I forced myself to go out and to meet people in various towns. It might be something as simple as going for a beer at the local pub and just striking up a conversation with someone, and that's a skill I really honed while I was away because you do miss social interaction. So when the opportunities present themselves, you take them wholeheartedly. You don't sort of sit around by yourself when you don't have to. So yeah, social skills I feel have improved on this trip, which is awesome. I feel I can talk to people from all walks of life, different ages, racial groups, you name it. Oh yeah, it's a skill I'm really happy to have picked up and to continue to develop. It's something while I am in Sydney, it's definitely something that I want to keep pushing, and I want to keep sort of extending my friend group, expanding the people who I know in and around places, be it travellers or people who live here. I also got asked if I ever got a sore bum. Didn't really. I had the padded shorts on most of the time, and sort of takes a bit of time to get used to. But once you sort of get past that, you're absolutely fine. You're cruising through. So some of the lowest points and the highest points is a question I've been asked too. It's kind of funny because the my highlights probably on the whole aren't that sort of incredible. The one of the highlights is Great Keppel Island, and that is a beautiful place on the east coast near Rockhampton. And sort of went onto the island for a couple of days and could swim off the beach, and I saw sea turtles, and it was just, it's a magical place out there. So I'd really recommend going to see that. Another big highlight for me was finding that watering hole on the way into Broome around Fitzroy Crossing. And as I said, that's not really a sort of a huge moment, but it was exactly what I needed at that time, and that's why it really stands out. And to have been somewhere where Andrew Cadigan had been, the guy who walked around the country, who's a big hero of mine, to know that he'd swum in that place and I'd swum in there, and him being an inspiration for me on this journey was a really special moment. The downsides were missing family, missing friends, obviously. But if you keep busy, you can sort of look past that. And having to give back the dog Savannah, that's still something that haunts me to this day. Sort of 2 months on, I think it's definitely something I think about most days. But other than that, there's nothing really that sort of strikes me at the moment of sort of low points. The major thing I've probably learnt is I now have a confidence within myself that if I can set my mind to something, I can achieve it, and it's really powerful. I think even being back in Sydney now, working, just in general life now, I know that if there's something I want to do and set my mind to, that I can absolutely do that. Yeah, I think it's really powerful, and there's definitely moments of the trip when I was crying on the side of the road in Western Australia, to turn around and to start laughing, and then I started screaming at a cow, telling him I was super strong and super powerful, and used a few expletives when it was running away from me, and that's a moment that still makes me laugh to this day. That the fact that I got through that and I kept pushing to Broome is something that I will always remember. It's definitely a moment of my life that I'm exceptionally proud of to get there. And there's the danger now of worrying that I haven't completed it yet. I haven't completed the whole trip. I haven't done the whole leg back to Sydney. But that doesn't faze me at all. It doesn't faze me at all. It's awesome. The trip was awesome. I've seen parts of Australia that people who have lived there their whole life have never seen and maybe even won't see. And yeah, I'm just stoked. I'm stoked with what I've achieved so far, and as I said, I will get back out there eventually and get stuck in. But for now, I think a lot of the videos that I'll be producing will be camping videos, getting out there, testing gear, probably do a review of the gear I used on the bike. But yeah, just let me know in the comments what it is you want to see. If there's any questions you have about plastic free as well, anything like that, then shoot me a message. Um, and if you're in Sydney and you want to catch up for a beer, you know where to find me. Thanks for watching this whole series, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did on the whole. And with the videos that I produced, I really wanted to be honest. I really wanted it to be an honest interpretation of the highs and lows of trips like that through remote areas by yourself. So I hope you got a really good grasp of what it actually was like, and I still hope that I've inspired people to get out and do not even something similar, but to go out and do something that they've always wanted to do, something they find cool, whether it's cycling or hiking or even just going for a day hike. I hope that there's something in there that you can look to and get moving and get outside, which is the message that I want to show. Is the outdoors is a pretty special place. I mean, I'm sat here in suburban Sydney and I managed to find a little cave. You don't have to travel far, even in Sydney, to get a bit of time outside, back with Mother Nature. And she's a good kid, Mother Nature. But guys, thanks again. I will see you soon. All the best. Ted signing off.